What you focus on.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Lady K Chat podcast. You are here with your favorite host, Lady K. You know I am the one that delivers the truth, doesn't hold her tongue back, and I give it with fire, but I give it with love. So this whole month, everyone, please, I want to say welcome back to the podcast. I know we took our hiatus over the summertime, but welcome back. We're coming back strong. We're doing a series all month long called What Men Want. And I have the pleasure of interviewing plenty of men. And this one right here, this gentleman right here, I just want to just kind of give you a background of the gentleman because he's doing so much in the community. This gentleman right here, he is the founder of the Remanned project. He has been working with men for over 25 years on a personal and professional leadership development level. And I would like everyone to help me, Mr. Donald Morton. Welcome, Donald.
Listen, I'm like a kid at Christmas. This is anytime I get a chance to support our brothers, to talk about our interests, and to be a part of a platform like this. I'm always humbled. I never take it lightly. So thank you, sister, for the invitation and the ability to be with you today.
You're welcome, Donna, and I thank you for being here. And like I said, the key word that I listed to everyone was leadership. And we definitely need that in the community. We need a lot of men to raise up in their leadership skills. And for the brothers who are there, who have that, I understand it is a heavy mantle to carry, right? So with that brother, because you're always going to sharpen your skills. You're never like the same person you was yesterday. You're never the same person you was a year ago. But again, I understand that's a heavy mantle to carry. So with that being said, Donald, I would like to talk about what type of woman that this man need because he carries the weight of leadership.
Yeah, very good question. So first, let's define what leadership is for a brother, right?
Right.
Guys, one of the things that whether it's someone that we're dating or whether it's a single mom who raises us, one of the things that is often missed is that men need pressure. We thrive under pressure. We need challenge. That's why we love sports so much. That's why when we're in the dating process, we love the chase, we love challenge. And so a lot of times, particularly as it relates to single moms who are raising young men, they miss that idea and attempt to kind of create an environment where it's easy for a young man to grow up. Right. And I get it. Right. I was raised by a single mother. My father died when I was incredibly young. He died of chronic alcoholism because he battled his own demons. Right. And my mother at the same time understood the assignment that there had to be a degree of pressure. Every man, young man, old man, needs a mountain. We are transformed at the place of a mountain, right? And so if he doesn't have that, if he doesn't have a place where he can transform through the pressure that he's experiencing, then he will not be adequately prepared for the life that he is taking on. And so I say that because there are three areas that define leadership. He has to be able to lead, yes, a business, community, culture. He has, yes, the responsibility is what you're talking about now, the responsibility of family as a husband, as a father. But primarily, believe it or not, sis, he's got to be able to first and primarily lead himself. If he doesn't have his own life together, it makes it very, very difficult for him to lead a family and to lead a culture or a business. Right. And so what a sister that is going to date a guy who is a leader, who is functioning under the weight and pressure of leadership, must first be savvy enough to allow him his moment of and season of selfishness. Because a season of selfishness means that he is taking the time to really get his personal finance together, getting his health together, getting his sense of enjoyment and leisure together before he could ever enter this space of relationship and leading a family. If he doesn't get that together, then he ultimately will go back to get it at some point.
Right.
And we are hurting families as men, not because we want to. We're hurting families as men because we enter these relationships and marriages and being fathers without having honored our season of selfishness. And when you do that, you ultimately go back to get it at the expense of a healthy relationship that you're now in. So a sister who understands that, number one, he has to have honored that season. And then number two, the weight and pressure of leadership never goes away. And what ladies need to be able to do and embrace is not add pressure unnecessarily to a man who is already fighting a world full of pressure. I always like to say it this way. I'm a fan of boxing, right? And in boxing, he has an opponent in the middle of the ring. And then there are periods of time where he can rest and get instruction from his corner. The worst thing in the world would be for a man to have to fight in the center of the ring and then go back to his corner and have to fight them too, right? So as a lady, as a woman who is interested in a man who is a leader, you got to give him a safe space, a courageous space, a soft space to be able to be vulnerable, be transparent, be authentically himself without having to fight you, because he's already having to fight the world, whether it's in business, whether it's in community, whether it's another brother. There's always this target that is on his back that he doesn't mind, quite frankly, because we love the challenge. But when we come home, we got to have a sense of security that I'm king of this space. I'm the man of this space. And I just need my lady to stand next to me in honor and in respect, because I'm disrespected on a regular basis in the world. I need some respect when I come home.
Right. And you know what, Donald, you said something profound, because you started off, when the man is younger, right? Because we all know it always starts from the childhood. And as a single mom of two boys, I'm learning how to watch my tongue, because I understand how I speak to my son. The affirmations that I give them, they're probably gonna unconsciously attract that in a woman, like, what I'm saying. So if you don't do it carefully, that you know how sometimes some men be like, oh, I don't want to be like my father, right? But unconsciously they do it, and it's like you don't mean to, but unconsciously it's like settled in your mind. You don't even realize you're attracting what you're used, or you're attracting what your environment is. So that's why I said, as a single mom, I think I had this conversation with you offline that before my tongue it can sharpen, and I had to realize I'm raising boys. And I have to be careful with my boys, because these boys are going to grow up into men, and they're going to have their own family one day. And I want to make sure that they have the right woman.
That's an important point too, right? So as when we talk about the differences and distinctions between men and women and boys and girls, even, there is a love and respect divide. Young ladies function on love, unconditional love. As long as a man loves her, she will thrive. Men don't function on love. And so usually, as when I talk with single moms, I'll say, she said, I love him. I always make sure he knows he's loved. And I always say, he really probably couldn't care less that you love him. He knows that you love him. What he needs is this Greek word phobeo, which is to mean he needs unconditional respect. So we live in a society that demands that we unconditionally love our ladies, our mom, our wives, our girlfriends, our daughters. We ain't got no problems with that. But we also live in a world that demands that men earn respect. Ladies don't have to earn love. We're supposed to give it. Men have to earn respect. So what men need from his lady is an unconditional respect.
I hear that.
Right? There is an honor language that he listens for. And even when young men are heard or told by their parents, I love you, he's really listening for, I'm proud of you. I honor you. I respect you. That when you do something wrong, this is something, bruh, dishonorable. Not that this is something I don't like. This is something I don't love. You're not acting in love. He couldn't care less about that. When you start using language that suggests that his behavior is dishonorable, it speaks to the core of who the creator created him to be.
Right.
So because we kind of throw everybody in this pool and we think that everybody wants unconditional love. Yes, men need love. We need unconditional love. But there was a survey done that asked out of 100 people, 70 to 80% of the men said, I would much rather be unloved than disrespected.
Right.
Right. So we got to be able, ladies miss the idea that he needs to be respected, even when his behavior, this is key, right? Even when his behavior doesn't warrant respect, we still have to respect him because it's the only way to transform his behavior.
Absolutely. And I agree with you because I remember a few months ago when I was dating this gentleman and we were just having a conversation about love and stuff like that. And he was like, forget love. He said, I want understanding. I want understanding. I want you to understand what I want. And this is why I think this is so imperative because I think we were talking about dating and vetting. And I said, when you're first meeting someone, right, you have to listen to what they're saying. And we know that men are from, what they say, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. So we're speaking different ways, but we're not comprehending what the other one is saying. I think that's where we miss that mark. And I think we have to get better at that. So I tell people all the time, listen, no one's going to have a relationship like you, right? You have to define what you want your relationship to look like. So in the beginning, I think it's so important to have a man, and I know this man is in leadership, will do this, will give you transparency, because within his transparency, he's going to tell you his needs and his wants. And you, as a woman, you have to listen. I think sometimes women, we get so excited and we miss, and we're like, well, I didn't see the signs. Yes, you did. You missed it. You chose not to listen. That man told you up front what he wanted, and you put whatever you put in your head. So I'm going to say, after the years of dating, I learned to listen with that third ear on what he's saying, because like you said, how he say it is, you know, we might be processing it differently.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A great point. Right. So and let me push a bit on something that you said. Usually guys are not overly transparent. We're not overly authentic. We're not overly vulnerable because we have had experience in our vulnerabilities and transparencies and authenticities being weaponized against us in former relationships. So when we come to you, we come with our guards up. We come expecting that you are the previous relationships, that you are one and the same. And so it takes us some time for us to really allow our guards down, to trust that what we share with you won't be weaponized against us in a future moment. And for ladies that are listening, if you weaponize his vulnerability once, you'll never get him to be vulnerable again. It's a wrap for you. It's a wrap for you. Absolutely.
Right. I learned it. And you know what's funny? I actually posted this on social media the other day. I said, you know, when a man opens up to me, I don't take it lightly. Like when a man really confides in me, and I had, like, you know, men in my family, closest friend, men I don't even know. And I said, you know what? I said, that's a gift. I said, I understand my gift of healing, because, and then I also understand, you know, how to watch my tongue, because we already know there's life and death in the tongue. So what you tell me, I don't want to use it against you, but I want to make sure my approach and how I handle you, I'm still speaking firmness, but I'm still gentle.
Yeah. And you know, brothers don't mind. We don't mind straight talk. We don't mind firm talk, but we demand respect talk. All of what is happening out here in our society, brothers capping brothers, all that you see is a demand for respect.
Right.
And so we're attempting to kind of cure the symptoms with gun buyback programs and mentoring programs, all those kinds of things. Those are symptoms. The real issue at the core of a man is his fundamental need for respect and honor. And if we can give him that on credit, not make him earn it, not make him demand it, not make him shoot for it,
Right.
but just give it to him on credit, lend that to him in the relationship in the same way that ladies, demand love, then we will begin to see brothers turn the corner. And I know that there have been, I had to have this conversation with my mother. Let me kind of pull back the curtain, right?
Okay.
I've had to have this conversation with my mother. My mother and I have a phenomenal relationship. She is 84, and I am 53, right? We have an incredible relationship, but it is a relationship built on me helping her to understand the difference between who she raised me as a boy and who I am as a man. One of the things we don't do well in our communities is transition.
Ooh.
Right? We don't transition well. So that little boy, I tell my lady, all right. So she has a son. He is an older young man. He's in his final year of high school. So I've got to always share with her, that's not your baby, that's not mommy's Pookie. That is a young man.
Yes.
That is a man in a boy's body.
Yes.
And if you hope to elicit that, then he'll be better. And so I've had to I asked my mother, I said, Precious, I call her Precious, right? I say, hey, Precious, let me ask you a question. Did we transition well? And she said, no, baby, I don't think we did. And I tested her. I said, let me give you a test. I said, I think now you and I are more like peers, right? There was a period where you were responsible for me.
Right.
And now, she's 84. There's some responsibility I have for her. But before that, there was a peer relationship. And this she failed the test. She said, baby, I'm always going to be your mother. Now, if I've got to get up on the step ladder, I said, Precious, this is exactly what I'm saying. So I said, why do you feel like you have to threaten for a relationship? Why do you feel like you got to tell me you're going to spank me? I said, I'm 53. You can't, where's the spanking coming from? Right.
Right.
Excuse me.
That authority. I'm gonna be honest, I don't mean to cut you off, but we struggle with that authority. And I have to be honest, as a Black mom, and I just want to interject real quick, Donald, because as you were saying that, it just reminded me of a conversation that I had with my son. And I literally went in his room, and I noticed a lot of times when I go in his room, I would knock, but unconsciously, there's been a few times I forgot to knock, and I said, got to remember to knock. He's 20, he's about to be 20 years old. But in the conversation I had with him, I said, you know what, you are a young man. And I said, and even though I'm not happy with some of the stuff that you are doing, like you're not doing what you're supposed to do, I said, I'm still going to speak with you. You see what I said?
Right,
I didn't say at you. I'm still going to speak with you. I said, because you are a young man and I still want to give you that respect. So I had to go in there and get my thoughts together. And I think sometimes a lot of Black moms, we just come out and we just say whatever, because my mom do the same thing. And I have to tell her, like, listen, wait, I'm a grown woman now. I'm not your baby no more. I love my mama, but I be like, hold on. You're not speaking to that 16-year-old Kalima.
Right.
I'm a grown woman with 2 kids and my oldest is almost 20.
Right. Exactly the point. Right. And so, my mom one day said, baby, you remember? Because I want to give real life examples, right, of how this plays out. And she said, baby, you remember when you rode around the corner on your big wheel on 2 wheels just to come hug mommy? I said, no. I don't. I mean, and I said, I asked her, I said, do you have any fond memories of me as an adult male? Right. And she paused and she said, yeah, of course, babe. I said, then why when you think well of me, are those moments always about when I was a little boy? Right. So let's allow me to grow up in your mind.
Right.
And then let's celebrate the man that I've become. And still got some areas I've got to develop in, right? This journey that we're all on.
Absolutely.
But I think there has to be a willingness for the evolution, right? The allowance of an evolution of young males. And as women that are dating males, Black males in particular, that delicate line, Kalima, of making sure that he handles his responsibility, but at the same time is pushed to greater.
Right.
Right. The words of his lady will either crucify him or convince him of his greatness. It'll crucify his greatness or convince him of his greatness. Right. And so Black males are under assault, and we want to find our safety in the lap of our ladies. And by the way, I know this is taboo for some to hear, but the reason why now, no, there is never a reason to cheat. Never.
Ooh.
There's never a reason to cheat. But brothers find themselves in the lap of ladies, not for the sexual experience, but just for the understanding.
Right.
I just need somebody to rub my head, tell me it's going to be okay. And I don't always find that at home. So I find that in the lap of another sister.
Absolutely.
Right? And so these are the kinds of things that brothers talk about all the time that sisters aren't always privy to, which again is the reason why I'm excited that you're allowing me to talk to your audience today.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
You said a mouthful.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go back and piggyback on one thing. The conversation and the dialogue that we were having about mothers and sons, I don't think people realize how imperative it is for his future relationships, and I love how you test your mother and you challenge her and you ask her, where are the adult moments? And I feel like I'm in that space with my sons, and with the youngest one, I want to develop him. And that I swear, they say you gotta be careful what you pray for, because when I was pregnant with him, I thought I was having a girl, right? So I said, Lord, give me a mini me. And he came out with my face, but in the form of a boy, where he acts like me. And I'm like, what? Am I being challenged? I said, it kind of reminded me, like, is this me reflecting myself? My mother told me, she was like, your son is nothing like you. She was like, you was way quieter. But then I also say some of the things that he do, I feel like it's a reflection that I need to fix, because I'm like, oh no, you're not going to act like that. This is not the type of boy that I'm going to raise, So I thank you for bringing up those points about, the mom boy relationship, because it affects his relationship.
Yeah.
And me, I just want to do my best. And I always ask the positive influence males around me, their perspective about, my boys, because I can only teach him to be a great person. I can't teach him how to be men.
That's right.
That's
right. That's absolutely right. And
so this is why I think it's important also to the men in the Black community. Y'all got to step up and help with these young boys.
Yeah. So let me push again. Let me push on, because I have a different philosophy about that. Right.
Okay.
It is my goal. Don't let this startle you, but it's my goal to get rid of every mentoring program we got. I want to dismantle every mentoring program. I want to make every one of them unnecessary.
Really?
And the reason is, Kalima, here's a deal. Because I work with men every single day, this is what I found. That a young boy doesn't want a mentor. A young boy wants his dad. He wants his dad. And so even when we provide mentors, or whether that mentor is from the local Boys and Girls Club, or whether the mentor is from a program that is out there that the state is funding or federal government is funding. I applaud their intent. But just like we did just now, easily say, we need men to step up to help with these young boys. No one ever says, I need biological dad to be resourced. So biological dad can step into the role that only biological dad can fill.
I understand.
There is a biological dad-sized hole in the soul of every young boy who is attempting to ask the question, where in the hell is my dad and why doesn't he want me? Every boy is asking that. Can I tell you a story real quick?
Go ahead.
So here's a story. My father left me 3 times. 3, right? My dad and my mother were married for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
But my father wasn't emotionally present. My dad would sit in front of the television, watch football, never said, I love you, never, he just wasn't that guy.
Right.
And so he was physically present, but he was emotionally absent. And my father and my mother would fight every weekend. My mom would call it getting their heads bad. They would get their heads bad. My mother and father drank Inverhouse. I don't even know where Inverhouse is now. They drank Inverhouse and Pabst Blue Ribbon beer, right? And they would get drunk. They would play pinochle, and then they would fight. My mother would throw my father through the glass window and then call the cops on my dad. And they take my dad away. Now, I'm a young boy, right? I'm a young boy, me and my sister. We're watching this every single weekend. And they decide that they can't make it, so they break up. My father moved all the way to Los Angeles, California, right? Now, I was in Delaware at the time. I'm in Atlanta now, but I was in Delaware for the first 50-something years of my life. And in Delaware, you can't go any further west than California before you go international. So just listen to a young boy's mind. What I do? Why did he leave not just the city, not just the house, not just the state, but he moved all the way across the country to Long Beach, California. He left me the second time. First time he left me emotionally. Second time he left me geographically, right? And then, Kalima, this is what happens. I'm 12 years old. They separated 10 years. I'm 12 years old. And my mom tells me, son, I leave for school that day. She said, son, I'm going to take you to a movie when you get away from school. I said, okay. So I get off of school and I come in the house and she's crying. And she said, I need to talk to you. And I said, okay, we're not going to the movies, right? That's all I care about. We're not going to the movies, right? And she's like, no, we can't go to the movies. And I said, Mom, you promised, because my mom, when she gives her word is her bond, right? And she said, no, we can't go to the movies. I said, why? She said, your father died. So watch this. He died a week before he was due to come home.
Oh, wow.
They were reconciling, right? So a week before he's due to come home, he dies. So he leaves me emotionally, he leaves me geographically, and then he leaves me eternally. And at the funeral, he's in the box, the casket at the front of the church. My sister's a fainter, so she's fainting. My mom's crying. My uncles are they're crying. My grandmom's crying. Everybody's crying. They said my nickname is Buddy. So they said, Buddy, you can cry. I said, for what? I'm angry. In that box up there is all of the answers to the questions I have as a young man. So y'all cry, right? I can't cry. Years later, my grandmother sends a letter that to my mom that my dad wrote her from California. And this is what he said. He said, "Hey, Mom, how's my son?"
Oh, wow.
And he said, "Tell him I loved him. I just didn't know how to be a dad."
Wow.
Then he said, "My only prayer for my son, Mom, is that he be the man I never could be." So when people ask me why I do this work because I promised my father posthumously that I would be the man he never could be.
Right.
Right. And I had mentors, but nobody could take the place of Edward Donald Morton Sr. Nobody could take his place. And what rescued me from my own anger with him is I found out my dad didn't know his dad.
Oh, wow.
And not only did he not know his dad, my father went into the military, got his birth certificate to go into the military, found out his name wasn't even the name they've been calling him. So imagine the trauma of going into the military, thinking you one person, finding out you're a different person. You don't know your dad. They won't tell you who your dad is. That's a lot to be able to digest and deal with. And can I tell you that what makes my father my hero today is he lived life to his capacity. He didn't do everything that he was supposed to do or that I thought he could do, but he did as much as he could with what he was given. That dude was in pain. He drank to sedate himself.
Right.
Right. And so what if, Kalima, what if we decided as Black folk, it's almost taboo to talk bad about mom, right? No one says, and moms do horrible stuff too.
Yes.
But we don't talk about that, right? We celebrate mom and we don't celebrate dad. We don't give dad the same room for grace.
Right.
And so the reason why I told that story is because I want every male, every sister listening to understand her dude and what he may be dealing with, right? And I want every brother to know, I got your back, man. I see you. I see you. I see you in all of your pain. I see you in all of your struggle. I see you because I am you.
Right.
Right. We often hear, are we our brother's keeper? That's not the question. I'm not my brother's keeper. I am my brother. The principle of Ubuntu is I am because you are. We share one another, right? And so I want brothers to be able to relax and know that inside the Remanned Project, there is a group of Black males that feel you. We see you. We respect you. Right? Even when your behavior isn't respectable, we respect you. And I want every sister to see that even when he's not showing up as his best, I want every mom to know, even when her son is not showing up at his best, there's room for growth and development and transformation. But there's a group of brothers out here that want to support and help him grow and help him be the man that he's called to be. Don't give up on our brothers. We need y'all. And my story, unfortunately, Kalima, is not a unique one. It's not a unique one. It's probably more normal than we'd like to realize. Absolutely. And we got a lot of work to do.
We really do. I want to say one thing, Don. I appreciate you so much opening up and sharing your story. We are running out of time, but everything that you said, you said so much. And I definitely would love to invite you back to this space because we can just uncover so much, within that short period of what you said, That's like 3 shows, Donald. Okay? You know, the mothers, the roles that they play, and how they crush their sons, the fathers that disappoint their sons. Like you said, that's not unique. Like you said, we see it all the time. But again, you know, it's great that you were able to give your father grace, and then you was able to not look at their circumstances, but you changed it and you did something about it, and you played a part in your community. That part right there is profound, and it speaks a lot of volume. So Donald, I thank you so much. So I know the people are probably saying, how can I reach this brother? So Donald, share your information, how they can follow you on social media.
Sure. Everybody can reach me at Real Don Morton, REAL Don Morton, MORTON, or they can find me at Remanned Project, and then our website, remannedinternational.com. And we've got a conference coming up for Black males here in Atlanta. Nice. And it is October. I know we probably won't want to date it, but it's October the 12th, October the 13th through the 15th here in Atlanta. And so for every Black male that is listening, register, because it's the first time that an organization is dealing with all males, all Black males. Wow. No sisters allowed. I think we got one session for sisters and couples, but you know, it's really designed to reach and to serve the Black male population. Yes, ma'am.
As they should, because they need their own separate thing. Like you said, everything is women this, women this.
Yes.
Men need that as well too. Yes. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. Continue to follow us here at the Lady K Chat Podcast. Here's on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and Apple. So everyone, please make sure you like, you comment, and share this with a brother and a sister, because they need to hear this. So I thank everyone for joining me, and we'll see you next Tuesday here at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Lady K.